Hey YouTube, this is the Robinhood Investor. Hope you had a great week of trading. As always, I really appreciate your support. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to learn about investing, subscribe to this channel. Today I want to talk about Visa stock, ticker symbol V, currently priced at $195 per share. Past year, up 21.33%. Past 5 years, up 181.57%. Definitely a high growth stock that pays out dividends. Currently, market cap is 415 billion. P ratio is 35.91, so this is more of a growth stock, and dividend yield is 0.62%. Scrolling down a bit, looking at the analyst ratings, 86% give it a buy, 14 give it a hold, and 0% give it a sell. So highly rated stock in terms of analyst ratings. In terms of earnings, you can see that actual earnings per share beat the expected earnings per share for Q2 and Q1 2020. So this is a very high growth stock and it's very positive. Taking a look at the actual earnings, financial results, this was reported on April 30th, 2020. So fiscal second quarter 2020 results, looking at the GAAP nominal dollar basis, net revenue 7%. Client incentives as of gross revenue is 22.6%. Operating expense is 4%. Effective tax rate is 19.4%. And diluted Class A common stock earnings per share is 6%. Scrolling down a bit, let's take a look at the actual performance results. So looking at net revenue, net income, and earnings per share, GAAP year over year change. So net revenues was up 7% year over year. So that's 5.9 billion US dollars. Net income up 4%, earnings per share up 6%. So great to see this kind of growth for a company this size. And due to the recent uncertainty, growth in the underlying business drivers slowed during the quarter with a significant decline in the month of March, which makes sense because as uncertainty increases, people are less likely to spend and the spending power is less. So they also returned $3.9 billion of capital to shareholders in the form of share repurchases and dividends. So it's great to see this company pay their shareholders back with either from repurchases, which increases the earnings per share, and then also dividends, which is cash payout. Now taking a look at the second quarter key business drivers, payments volume increased by 5% year over year. Cross-border volume decreased by 2%, and processed transactions up 7%. So great to see higher volume usage of Visa. Operational performance metric summary. So looking at the US payments volume growth, you can see that from January to, so it took a dip starting in March, but it slightly went back up in April. Same goes for, let's see, this number, this is total versus card not present. Same thing in terms of the dip. It dipped in March, but went back up in April. And in process transaction growth, same story. Took a dip in March and then steadily increasing back in April. Cross-border volume growth, constant dollar. Same story. Dip in March, back up in April. Payments volume growth, you can see that Visa Inc. Let's see, the yellow bar is nominal, the blue bar is constant. So Visa, 3 to 5%. Credit, you can see it's slightly lower, possibly because they customers use less credit, and debit increased 8 to 9%. Scrolling down, payments volume growth, you can see Visa 8%, credit 5 to 6%, debit 11%. So debit use is definitely higher than or debit growth is definitely higher than credit. Overall though, up 8%, which is great to see this kind of number, this kind of solid growth for a company this size. Transaction and cross-border volume. Cross-border, you can see that it decreased, but transactions that are not cross-border, it increased. Total cards, you can see that steadily increased year over year, 4%, credit 2%, and debit 5%. So again, debit has higher growth. Overall, Visa grew. Revenue growth. So looking at the different revenue streams, so services revenue, 9%, data processing revenue, 11%, international transaction revenues, 2%, other revenues, 20%, gross revenue, 8%, client incentive, 15%, and net revenue, 7%. So great to see solid growth across the board. Operating expense growth, 5% for, personnel. Marketing down 3%. Network and processing, 7 to 6%. Professional fees, 2%. Depreciation and amortization, 20 to 13%. Let's see what the color bar means. Oh, it's reported versus non-GAAP. So let's look at the yellow bar, 20%. General and administrative, 2%. And then litigation provision, downside 67%. Total operating expense is 4%. So great to see that their expenditure didn't increase too much to get the solid growth. See some other highlights. Cash flow, you can see that, let's see, Q2 2020 versus, so quarter to date versus year to date. So you can see that free cash flow slightly decreased. I think that's fine, but they have a pretty sizable cash position. Let's see, 1.4 billion in net cash provided by operating activities, and then in terms of less capital expenditure, 216 million. Free cash flow, 1.2 billion versus year to date is 4.9 billion. Cash returned to shareholders, so stock repurchases, you can see for second quarter, 3.2 billion in terms of dividend yield, 668 million paid out to shareholders. And this number to the right here is year to date, 5.5 billion versus and 1.3 billion for stock repurchases and dividends. So I think it's a very solid growth stock that pays its shareholders forward with dividends and share buybacks, which is great to see. That's all for this video. What are your thoughts on Visa stock? Comment down below. Remember to use my referral links below, and both of us get $20 for using personal capital or free stock for using Robinhood. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to learn about investing, subscribe to this channel. See you in the next video.